It's just for an X-ray that my
Linky.
dentist doesn't have.
Welcome, everyone, to our Beechwood Board of Education. Actually, July 22nd meeting. It's a little bit late this month, but we're here. So, Lori, would you like to do roll call?
Mrs. Berger.
Here.
Mr. Hood.
Here.
Mrs. Slate.
Here.
Mrs. Stricker.
Here.
Mrs. Sullivan. Here.
Okay. Any?
No.
Okay. Public comment, discussion, and action agenda. This is a first reading for updated policies and procedures. If anybody has any questions, you can reach out
Since
to
it's first reading, I don't have to wait for a motion, right?
Right. No,
Make sure I don't mess
we're
up.
good. No.
All right, so in addition to KSBA, Dr. Schobel and Mr. Geyser, I always think it's great whenever you start a position, even though it's not Sarah's first year, but to review all the policies and procedures for the institution. It's a great way to learn the intricacies, and it was time for us to kind of reevaluate and review. So you have two sources of revision. Number one is internal from us. Number two is external from KSBA on their normally updates from the general session. So I know you all have had time to review them, but there's a lot here, and it may be as minor as the first one, just the legal status of the board. The legal status of the board has changed to Beechwood Independent School District of Fort Mitchell, Kentucky. We had a discrepancy there, so it may be as simple as that revision, or it may be very something larger that happened in session that we've discussed or that you've read over. So I'll be more than happy to take questions on any specific one if you have so. If not, you obviously have between now and next time to, just there's nothing tonight other than first reading, and you can always start that over again.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions right now?
Not yet.
No. Okay. We'll go on to our consent agenda. I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, I mean, it's lengthy, and I do apologize for anybody that's coming tonight. June and July at a smaller district is not a healthy, but we still have a obligation to have a board meeting for number one. The finance report has to be submitted every month, and second of all, to address just normal business, but there's not a lot. So anyway, consent. Basically your normal things: approval minutes, monthly bills, field trip. We have a overnight with boys golf, annual facilities requests, the Spartans again, a couple of fundraisers, and then you have all your yearly certified evaluation plan. And while I'm on that one, it is time for the new 50-50 committee. So that'll be a pretty lengthy process this coming year. We have to do that every so often to go through and reevaluate all of our evaluation plans. So that'll be in process this coming year. Updated pay schedule for the year, updated stipend schedule for the year, emergency substitute teacher certification. Again, that's the one that changes the requirements based on the difficulty of finding substitute teachers. We, knock on wood, that has not been a problem for us as much as other districts. I hope it continues to be that way. Thomas More MOA for the student-teacher practicum, high school parent handbook and code of conduct, elementary student, high school student and parent handbook and code of conduct, elementary student parent handbook code of conduct. Again, we have to have to you all the emergency action plan updated yearly, safety plan updated yearly, crisis response manual updated yearly, employee handbook, athletics handbook, student athlete handbook, coaches handbook, substitute handbook, and then the supplemental transportation contract with Kenton County that does our bus servicing, and then the updated pay applications for Phase B. Any specific questions on any of those?
On the transportation contract, I don't recall this in the past. Are they going to do all of our transportation now or no?
On our
Are we still going to
transportation
have
servicing?
Yeah, are we still going to have in?
Yeah, so we have our own buses,
Right,
right? But
right.
we contract sometimes for them
So it's still
to
the
help
same.
support,
Okay, just
and then they do
supplement.
the servicing.
Just supplement.
Just
okay.
supplemental.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's like bands going on a Saturday, JV football teams on the road on a Saturday, and we have a forensics tournament. We can end up having more away games than we have buses. So that
Nothing's
is
changed. It's still the same.
it's still the same. Nothing's changed. Any other questions?
No.
There are a couple one-time, just to highlight just one, and it's a little, because I know if you wouldn't have picked it out, but a lot of recruitment is happening now on social media. So we are trying to one-time just see how it goes, help every student, athlete produce a recruiting profile. Instead of parents having to pay for that service, or like there's several different entities and between football, baseball, basketball, and all the other ancillary sports. But part of our mission, right, is to get a kid where they want to go and help them to get money to go there. And with that being such a movement that I didn't believe until recently, we are asking for a 1-year stipend to try to see if that has an impact. If it doesn't, it goes away at the end of the year. If it does, then I'll probably come back and ask for that to be a permanent fixture.
What would be the cost of this?
I think we listed on this as $4,000, and if it's a return on the investment and it helps kids get looks, then that's a low cost for return. If it doesn't, then not a big risk on our shoulders either.
What do other districts do?
I'm not aware of another district
Yeah.
that does it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see the kids post their own stuff online. You see a couple of agencies that parents pay to post stuff
Mm-hmm.
online. But I have been beat on the head enough to realize that a lot of recruiting is happening in that venue since COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, again, just trying to see if it would, and that's why it was only listed as a 1 year. A temporary to see if it's a return on the investment. If it is, I would love to revisit. If it's not, I'll report back that it was, not, and it goes away.
With one specific company or is?
No, it'll be in-house, and we'll create all of the content on our own.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Hood?
Yes.
Mrs. Sleet?
Yes.
Mrs. Stricker?
Yes.
Mrs. Solomon?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. On to information, superintendent's report.
So just a couple of items tonight, and then I know we have a lot of people wanting, or already wanting to get to band trivia night. But at the same time, I think it's important to go over a couple of things. We have been in pretty constant contact with our construction management company, our architect, and our engineer. We have, we absolutely understand that we're not perfectly on time on this project. There's several different entities that come into play. I'll highlight the one sanitation line from the nurses station that was supposed to tie in out here, that the line didn't exist, that was on the plans. I mean, there are items like that have really hit them. There are also some larger projects in the vicinity that people are pulling workers off of, so we're in a constant issue with that. I do still feel good. We've heard a lot of, reports on that it, 6 to 12 months behind. I mean, I don't see that right now, but at the same time, we only have 2 times that we can really move a large part of the school, right? And that's fall break and winter break. So I'll continue to keep you posted. I have a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning where we're going over the new schedule. I'll call Jeannie at the moment that meeting's over to review. And the good thing is everybody at the table is looking on how to, speed up the process and not, worrying about blaming each other on the process. I will say the product's looking really good. If you haven't been through it recently, you should swing by and take a look. It's going to be a great space, but there's 4 critical areas that have to happen sooner rather than later. Number 1, forced air. We have to get air conditioning rolling because a lot of the finishes cannot be put up until it's controlled air, right? Because if they sweat or expand, it can cause a lot of problems, especially the wood. Number 2, power to the
Units?
power turned on in general, right? Right now you go by and you see lights on, right? But that's not the main power source. All right, so that is number 2. Number 3, gym lobby HVAC, because if we don't get that done before school, then that's a problem on being able to do the work while kids are on campus. And it would also impact any event that we had in the varsity gym as far as air conditioning, because that system controls that whole the side of the building.
That's not tied into the power we're talking about out here, though, is it?
No.
Or no? So it's totally separate? Okay.
Totally separate. The main issue there is they missed one of the big pieces of ductwork. So they're waiting on the piece of ductwork to come in to be able to install into the lobby. Best explained to you outside of the office in Soletto's room, that main lobby. So we're waiting on one piece of ductwork. Next is the elementary lobby and maintaining a secure and safe area there. The hallway outside the cafeteria, a safe and secure area there. And then downstairs by the band room, a safe and secure area there. Right now they're all open to the construction site. Feel really good about those things. The last 3 things, it's the forced air and the power that we're going to have some answers on tomorrow. And that's our main delay right now.
So the real push is on the power?
The real push is on the forced air.
Well, right, but they need the power
Right,
for
because
the...
we can do that. If we could get that forced air going, we could at least run that without the power. But because you can do a generator, right? I am a massive generator. But the power and the forced air together are the 2 issues.
So is there anything in the contract that can get them to
Yes.
comply that will...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is being discussed tomorrow
Okay, all right.
at 8 o'clock.
So we'll know more tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, also it's interesting, right? And we knew going in that this, and we all said this is the most complex project that I've ever done. I mean, our site superintendent says it's the most complex project, that he's ever done, because you have kids on 3 sides of you. You have no storage or prep area, and you have some really high-end different types of finishes that all go together to cause a problem. Our HVAC system is extremely large because one system runs the whole area, and it's interesting to watch them work on it. I mean, you can see it from the interstate, so that tells you the size of it. It's just a massive unit, but at the same time, we're behind. So we are addressing all those things tomorrow. Any other construction questions?
If you have a guess, how far are we now? Not hold you to it.
I mean, I think the kids will be in Christmas break. I think we'll have access a little earlier. But I think I think it's going to be somewhere between fall break. I mean, the timeline that we have on the schedule right now is between October and November, and I still think, depending on the outcome of tomorrow's meeting, that we hit that. But at the same time, if we don't get forced air, right? If we don't get forced air,
Get the work done.
we can't move forward with the finishes, because if we run the finishes, their insurance isn't going to cover, and our insurance isn't going to cover doing something without air conditioning. So,
So it just has to be climate controlled is the big issue because of the wood and all the finishes that, okay.
all the finishes, you have to have climate control. Yeah. Yeah. So again, tomorrow, I know there was been a couple, and again, I got to know more detail to know who to assign a problem with. So, I mean, I should know more after a meeting tomorrow morning.
Okay.
As far as our forecast, update on the budget, I think we're in, moving in really good shape on the financial. We're supposed to hear, and this is the big one we're waiting on right now, we're supposed to hear at retreat, I can't remember what day it was, the 16th, the House Education Committee met with the Kentucky Department of Education. They had a committee meeting, and the department said that we should have an answer to the PVA fix on exactly how much money that would put back into our budget within the next few weeks. So we're anxiously awaiting that number, because that number right now is not built into the initial budget. So as soon as that number comes in, we'll update you immediately, because that's a big item for us. Outside of that,
Will they go back in time and pay us the stuff that they should have paid us before?
I have been told it is not going to be retroactive,
Active.
but it will be forward movement during the budgetary cycle. So that's the other issue.
But it's
that
only a 2-year fix.
It's
Yeah.
only a 2-year fix. So that is the work over the next 12 months, right? To really continue to have those conversations, because, and again, I don't want to hypothetically go worst case scenario or base case scenario. It's better just to talk it through, right? Because the fix, and I'm so thankful to Senator McDaniel and Representative Banta for helping secure a fix, right, for the biennium. But best case scenario, right, the property value doesn't continue to go up and we don't need a fix, right, moving forward. Worst case scenario is about the time the fix runs out, we're up for another property evaluation cycle, and if it were to replicate or repeat itself, right, we're right back into the same situation as before, because it's a short-term fix. So our question as a district has to continue to be, how do we maintain the safety and security of not only our system but our entire staff with the very dramatic increases in property value and specifically a few areas in northern Kentucky, right? And I mean, I would like to think that it won't continue. As superintendent, as a homeowner, I'm really thankful that my property value continues to grow. But as a superintendent, I don't like to be in a spot to where you can be in an extreme financially difficult position to the point of not knowing how you're going to get out of it and not have any control over it, right? It was no fault of our own. If anything, it was the success of the district that helped continue to grow, right? So I think the work over the next 12 months is continue to not ask for seek to be completely thrown out of reform, but how to secure a long-term protection for districts on property values that are completely out of line with what people thought in 1990 when the fix, the Rose decision was and CARA was enacted. So, I mean, that's the work, and I think it'll take a lot of the districts banding together to have that conversation, because the vast majority, I mean, you have 120 counties, 171 systems, and there's about 20 of us that kind of have this impact. So, the vast majority of systems, them and their representatives and their senators don't have they don't have this weight, right? So it's hard to get a reform when it's not when it's only a problem in, very. Yes, I mean, you only have 27 districts that have grown since COVID. in the entire state, right? So most systems are declining. Most systems are seek winners, so that.
Which would make it difficult.
It makes
for
it
them to-
extremely difficult on us to get the legislative support we need to protect the institution with a 32% increase in property value. So we'll continue working on it. I had a good lunch meeting with Senator McDaniel just last month, to continue to address that issue, and we'll continue working on it.
Okay, thanks for the update.
Chris, do you have anything else on the finance? Okay, all right. That's all I have.
Okay. All right, well, we're on to our next item, which is the agenda, and make it a part of the official board minutes. Take a motion to do so.
I'll move to make the agenda a part of the official board minutes.
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Hood?
Yep.
Mrs. Slate?
Yes.
Mrs. Stricker? Mrs.
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Any other business, board business, any?
I want to respectfully request that the board pursue a comprehensive workplace and environmental analysis. The culture and the morale of the building has declined substantially over the past few years, and staff retention and recruitment has become a big issue. So I think it's imperative that we define the issue and address it as soon as possible. It's in the best interest of the staff, the community, and the students, I think.
Okay,
That's nothing we have to vote on, but
Right.
I'd like to bring that up at the next meeting.
okay. Okay, you have anything to add? No?
I will, just since we're on the record, we've had the lowest turnover since before COVID, and we're the only system in Northern Kentucky that I'm aware of that's fully staffed. So I do appreciate those two aspects of the current job, but, always need to look at how to do things better.
Exactly.
We'll also say we had a great administrative retreat. It's always nice to get together and have a little bit of socialization, and as well as a lot of work. So I was really proud of the work that came out of admin retreat. I'll be more than happy to share the documents with you on the work moving into the start of the school year.
Okay.
I should have been that in superintendent's report, but I
Oh,
forgot.
yeah, that's all right. Well, thank you. Okay. Take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, I'll second.